Okay, good afternoon. I guess I'm going to start part 5 of reading all the switches from the, I think it's over 30 of those relays on my shortstop. So, I mean, I should have them memorized now. There's the 12 in a row. There's the 5 for the run man. And there's the 6 in the trip, in the latch and trips back relay section, 3 for the pitcher, and at least 1 for the batter. So how many is that? 12. And then you got 5 and 6. So 12, 22, 23. So yeah, it's in the 20s. So I guess I'll continue. I don't know how many if I'm gonna continue to do them all or not, but the ones I gotta finish here are the tilt of the trip back, the ones that latch and then get tripped in the back. So the only ones left are the tilt in the match, in the second coin, and then I can jump back on the 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th relays from the 12 in a row. So that's if I keep going on these. I guess I got this far, and I'm getting better at reading them, so I guess I'll kill this and go up and turn on I got the tilt switches ready to explain. All right. Well, the first thing I thought was maybe there's a tilt for each player, but I crossed that off. There isn't. If it tilts, it ends the game for both players. As I got into it and looked around, I found one over here on the 6-volt side. Let's make this one bigger. A little bigger yet. Okay, so let's count them first. That's one over there on the 6-volt side, and then let's go over here on the 50-volt side. Nothing up above the transformer. I got some other ones circled when I was working on this sheet because it's pretty clean. Don't mind them. These are circled in this light blue. I got tilt switch and circuit stops end of game. Yeah. Okay, I can get to that. I'll get to that. So that's the second one. And there's one third one. I got this blue line going down here, so yeah. Fourth one. Fifth one. Looks like there's going to be 5 switches. I got follow blue line that I did there down past F16 down to F28 and F29. I guess F16 is where we got another tilt switch. So it says go way down past that to F28 and 29 near the end of the schematic will be 2 different tilt switches. I figure one's the pendulum that swings, and one's either on the, I haven't looked yet, but I think that's the one that's on the belly of the machine, or it's not on the door, I don't think. It's one or the other. Or there's even another one that I haven't found on the schematic, because I know there's a leaf on the belly, so you can't kick it with your foot. Anyway, so there's 2 way down there. And did I say anything here about them? They each act like okay. Those 2, you got to think of those 2 as like playfield switches. actually on a relay. They're like when you get a hit, it's a switch wire that goes down and up. In this case, it's a leaf wire and a pendulum wire. So those two aren't really part of the relays. All right, should be able to do this real quick. Over here we got a single two-blade switch. It's in the ground. That's the ground for the 6-volt side. So that would cut off the match lights. But this looks like it's normally on. Okay. So it's normally on. If you tilt it, you won't see any match lights because that's what's past here down by the bottom. And you won't see any out lights. And you won't see any strikes. It kills all your displays. Because everything that goes down here, it kills everything. And that would be if this tilt relay, this is a relay switch. So when this pulls in, when it gets tilted from those two tilt switches, it will turn on your tilt light. Let's go on. Back on the 50-volt side. Okay, here we got something right here. We got 3L, and that looks like a tilt switch. Let me blow it up a little more here. It's tilt switch 3L on the left side of the two stacks, because we're still talking bank relay. So it's right in here. So what that's going to do, it's going to stop you from getting a credit if you tilt it. That's the replay stepper. And this switch is right in here to cut that path. And here's that path. It's coming from the Grand Slam. Yeah, that's the name disc. So this is coming from the name stepper right there. So then that's at the end, the fourth rivet is the end. Fourth rivet is the end. That will come right around. Yeah, so the fourth rivet's a game over for the first person. And if it got tilted, then this tilt switch would open, and it would stop you from getting any replays at the end of the game. Which, if you tilt it, would be the end of the game. That was switch 3L. Okay. Here we got 1R. Yeah, this is your main tilt. When those two switches, one of the two, if you lift the machine up and down and do the pendulum, or if you shake it, if the shake tilt, or if the pendulum tilts it, the tilt relay pulls in, and this switch is on the tilt relay. So this switch is on the tilt relay on the left side. This switch is on the right side. They're both going to pull in. It's just they're inside of two different switch stacks. This is going to pull in, and it's going to trip game over. And so this tilt is going to go around the normal game over rivet, where it would pull in game over. This is just any time during the game, it's just going to tilt. Okay, next. So that's 3 switches. I think I said there's 5. Here's one from the right side. No, I got that wrong. There's only 3 switches. There's only 3 that I could find. There was, 4 then. So you got the 2L right here. This is right in front of the tilt relay that gets pulled in. It's on the left side. I guess it acts like a hold or something, but when this gets tripped, it's going to get the juice cut anyway, and I don't see any reason for a hold because it's a bank relay. When this gets tripped, it just stays there. So then this must be for something different.
Nope.
So anyway, when this gets tripped, this is going to open because it's normally closed. And let's see what that cuts the path off to, because we're right here. So it cuts the path off to the lock relay, switch 2. So I guess that's the reason for that switch. I don't know, but that's what it says. That's right. Lock relay might have to be on to.
Yes.
For the game, for the whole entire game.
Yes.
So when it tilts, it lets the lock relay relax. Because this will open. Okay, I just figured that out. Yeah, then that's why that's there. Okay, so then all together we had the 2 left, which lets the lock relay undo. So that's 2L. We got 1R, that was the main tilt, or the main thing to trip the game over. And this one stops you from getting replays. 3 switches so far. 1 stops you from getting replays. Another here makes the game over happen. And that's what tilt does, is ends your game. And the other one up there stops the replays from happening after the game over. And this one cuts off the lock relay, switch 2. Now, I don't know that switch 2 is wired to the coil of the lock relay, but anyway, switch 2 will be cut off in the lock relay. And the other one, there's no more down here. The other one was the tilt light. That wraps this up. So now I'll get to the match one. Before I finish it out, I guess I might as well find the lock relay and find out where switch 2 is. Here's the coil. Okay, let's cover the lock relay relays. I don't think we did the lock relay, and if I did, I didn't. I just studied it because right here, when I wanted to know why the tilt relay coil that gets tripped, that's latched, I wanted to know why it had this lock relay switch 2 in there. So that means I had to hash out the lock relay. So I'm going to explain that right now. First off, you look at the lock relay switches. It does have one normally closed. The other ones are normally open. But the lock relay didn't have a switch 3. So I had to name this one switch 3. I'm going to name the other switch 2. It had 2 switch 2s. So I'm going to name the other switch 2 all the way up to the top. It's the one that lets the bat work. in this 110 volt. So the bat won't work. There's the bat switch. It won't work without this one up here. This is that normally open one. So this proves the lock relay stays on for the entire game. Because without this closed for the entire game, the bat would never work. So the lock relay pulls in on, again up here on top, this has to be pulled in to work. So that proves it has to be pulled in during the game. And another proof down here. I didn't know why, because this would get a ground if it tilts it. Right here, this shuts, because this is the ground, and it would go right on over and unlatch the trip relay, and it would end the game, because the tilt's hooked to the game over. So either one of these would have tilted it. So then I said, why is this in here? Why do we have a lock relay switch in there? And it's showing it normally closed after the game's reset and unplugged. Here's what I wrote. If the lock relay isn't on, the bat won't work. So that means it has to be pulled in. If the lock relay wasn't on for the entire game, my newly named switch 3 would tilt the machine right away. So this lock relay, newly named switch 3 by me instead of switch 2, see if this was on like it's showing, it's going to tilt it. So that's the key. Figured it out. This can't be on. So this is normally closed when there's no juice at this thing. These are open, open, closed. You know, like most switches, when there's no juice on them, like the index relay, it's normally open, normally open, normally open, you know. They're all normally open. They're normally open, but this one's normally closed. So that means when the lock relay pulls in, this one's going to go open. And that's what we want. We want this one to go open because then it won't tilt it right away, and you can't start your game if it's going to tilt it. So that's why we figured that out. That's why that lock relay is showing closed here, because during the game, the whole game, this proves the lock relay is actually on for the whole game. And if the lock relay ever isn't pulled in, it would tilt the game. So during game startup, remember, game over, this is going to be tripped because it tilts on when it's game over. Okay, so kind of review for you or me, the tilt relay gets pulled in when one of these two tilts tilted. And we know during the game this one's open because the lock relay's pulled in. So this gets tilted and gets pulled in. Okay, and then it trips, when that tilt relay pulls in, it trips 1R. So this is the right side. 1R. Right here. And I wrote trips game over. And up here, it's right here. 1R. So when that one of those two tilts down there tilts, pulls in the tilt relay, it unlatches it, it trips it. That's what unlatching is. This closes. That goes up here, pulls in the game over. So when the game over is pulled in, must have a jumper to the game over A relay, so they both pull in. So this is where the index relay on starts up, closes, and energizes the lock relay. So now, how does the lock relay get cut? Lock relay switch 1's holding it up. So I found out everything except what cuts the lock relay at the end of the game. I imagine game over somehow cuts cuts the lock relay, but I haven't been able to prove how. When the game's over, it cuts. I mean, it darkens the game. That would mean this wouldn't be energized anymore, but I haven't seen how because it's held on by the hold switch, and nothing is cutting the hold switch here. There's no score motor cutting it. There's nothing cutting it. But obviously, when the game's over, it cuts it, and then it has to relock for the next game through the index relay. And then the index relay shuts off, and this stays locked for the entire game. But I haven't proved how it shuts off, that's all. Still, I proved this other stuff down here about why this is here. So it's there, otherwise the game would be tilted right away to start, because this normally closed switch has to open when the lock relay pulls in and stays on for the entire game. Otherwise it would just tilt it. So I don't know what shuts the lock relay off, but I'll figure it out later. I ended up with looking at the lock relays before I went to Thanksgiving dinner. Now it's the next day, it's Friday. And it bothered me, or I thought about it the whole, every now and then, thinking I couldn't find how it shut off. To recap, there's three switches on the lock relay. And I wrote down what they do now. 2 are normally open and 1's normally closed. So the normally open ones, when the lock relay pulls in, will stay on. This one will stay on to hold it on. This one will stay on to allow the bat to work. This one will open. And so that one will open, and that'll keep this from tilting it, because it's hooked right to the tilt relay. This is tilt relay, bank relay, switch 2L will be closed during the game. As I wrote down, latched during play.
Nope.
This would be the left side, and that would be 2L.
2L opens during the game.
So if that stays latched during the game, the right one's the main one that trips the game over.
Yeah, it stays.
And that stays open, so it could trip. So it has some of these that stay closed.
Yeah, it stays closed unless you tilt it. And then right away it opens.
Didn't pull open. Where it stays on for the whole game, it would be getting a ground right here, and it would shoot right over here, and it would tilt it. And that would knock it into game over before you could start the game. So that's absolutely why this normally closed switch is here from the lock relay. I put the index, I said this, I didn't write the name, it's right next to it, pulls in during reset by the index relay. Held on, it's held on by the switch 1 that holds it for the entire game. And I put game over, must cut the current. Game over, must cut the current. Because this can't just stay on all the time, but I think this is a game where this stays on all the time. Once you plug it in and you reset it, resetting it pulls this switch in, stays locked the whole game, and until you unplug it, it must just stay locked. Because I, for the life of me, cannot find out a circuit where I just highlighted it green, how this gets cut. But this one up here has to stay shut the whole game too. So that is another one that proves that the lock relay has to be on for the entire game. So we got that pretty well established. That bat switch won't get any juice. if that's the case, I'll always have to unplug this when I'm done with it. That'd be awful. Just leave that go for months at a time when I don't play these, if I ever get it working, to have this on. I'm gonna have to get this so this cuts with the game over. Okay, let me shoot what I got so far on this tilt. When the machine gets tilted from the shake tilt, or you got the shake tilt and you got the plumb bob. If you were lifting up the machine and made it hit the side, it would tilt it. So you got the shake tilt just going back and forth, and this one. These switches are on the walls or the floor of the machine. So if one of those tilted it, it would pull in this tilt relay, and that would quickly open this switch, and that way this wouldn't buzz. But just that momentary being energized for that split second will pull in the tilt relay. That red line, we were just over there at the tilt relay. Now we're over here. We're way down at the bottom of the schematic where the match is. So this is switch 1 of the tilt relay 1L, because this is the bank latch trip type relay switch from a stack, vertical stack on the bank relay switches. Soon as that pulls, this will open as well as that one, so that one opens to break the buzz from this. It'll shut this relay right back off. This one opens for a different reason. This one opens so that you don't get your match. Yep. Let's go up a ways. Okay, here's the main tilt. Right here, this is your main tilt. When that shake relay, or the if you lift it up from the pendulum plumb bobbin one, it will trip that relay we just showed you, and that has switches on it. It will trip it off the latch, and that has switches on it. And one of them's switch 1R, and that will trip the game over. Right there, okay. Seems like I already went over this once. If I'm doing it twice, oh well, you're gonna get it again. It's like we just mentioned it when I did the game over. Oh, I found out why this game over switch is there. Because game over goes right through here, so it's there because let's say the game ended in tilt, and this is tripped off the latch. Now this is shut, right? Imagine this is shut. So when the game gets reset, if this is shut, this could put it right back into game over, because this would still be shut, the timing of it all. So they put a switch here. So if the bank relay don't get reset before, this might put it back into tilt, which just ends the game right away, and you never get anything reset. So they put this switch in here. That's why that's there. So that was our main, switch 1R was our main. Trips it into game over.
I didn't mean tilt, I meant game over.
Here's one up here. Okay, here's the reason for that. The name stepper, just like the strike unit, gets to a 4th rivet. That would be game over. And if you get a reward from a grand slam, it happens here at the end of the game, it would go up there. But if you tilted it, you won't get your reward now, because this would be open. If this is normally closed, when you tilt it and that unlatches, now you won't get the replay. So 3L is stopping you from getting your replays from a grand slam. It's pretty much what I wrote there. Okay, here's a tilt switch here over on the, this is coming off the transformer. This is a 6-volt side. Okay, so this is a normally closed switch. And if you tilt it, this one's on the, this is in the relay stack, so it's closed now. So if you tilted it and it came unlatched, and which is called tripped, this will open and it will turn on the tilt light. Just has one. It doesn't have one for each player. I pretty much think that if you tilt it, you lose both games. Includes the tilt back relay. Let's go to the match. The match relay has just 2 switches, and they're both on the left. Trip back, of course. Looks like one's normally open and one's normally closed, so let's investigate that. This should be quick. I found one of the switches. It's right here by the match relay. So when you match, you don't want this to keep buzzing. Your match will come down through the normal process to get it. I mean, if you want me to follow that, I could. We'd have to follow it from here down through there. We'd have to go through the match stepper unit discs, and 2 people could get a match. That's why I highlighted both of them. So let's say both people got a match, then that pulse would go through both of these, and it would give you, it would put 2 on the match meter. It would make the match impulse relay work to give the stepper unit, which is further up. It's not that much farther up, it's just right there. It would give this out stepper unit the pulses to, oh no, the match stepper unit only turns at weird times to keep giving you different match numbers. It isn't going to have anything to do with the reward. Only thing is that if these discs on the stepper unit match at the end of the game, then it goes down through here and around up to here, and it will work the impulse relay in the back box, and that will credit your stepper wheel. That's what I was going up to look for. It would have been the stepper wheel. And it will turn on your match light, and right away, this one switch, there's only 2, this one switch will open that way, because that's why it's normally closed. It will open and turn off the light bulb. Way up by number 10, we were down by the 20s or 30s there. Way up by 10 is this, it's called the replay stepper. Well, I didn't see anything hooked to the match, or the replay stepper. So the match impulse relay is going to go off. So we'd have to go up and find the match impulse relay. There's going to be no wires hooked down here. So the match impulse relay has switches on it. So it's probably got 4 or 5. That one, we cover the back box, 3 relays. There's 3 relays in the back box. And the other one's following this black line. So there it is, the number match relay switch 1L. So it lights it lights up your match number. It's got about 10 of these lights across the top of the machine. The match numbers are right across the top of the board. And you can plug your adjustments so it only shows up at the end of the game, or or you can see it through the whole game. You just can't see it through that says right there, it says numbers matched. And they're kind of hidden. You don't see them unless the light bulb comes on. When I covered the second player setup, I hadn't done the bank reset, the 2 game overs, and well, all those are the 2 game overs, the tilt, the match, and the second coin, and the second batter. I hadn't covered those yet. Now I kind of know how the second player setup. I know what it is. I just called it odd jobs. What it does, it comes on from the outstepper, from the end of the stroke switch. Go the rest of the way and take the second coin. That would end these. And then I'm going to review what the second player setup really was for, instead of just odd jobs. Second coin bank relay trip has 2 switches left and 2 switches right. I got him in green here. Over here, get bigger, and then I'll drag it over. Okay, so switch 2R is going to put the second drum player lights on. And these are going to trip when you put that second coin in at the start of the game. And so now you're going to have 2 on for the entire game. That's all this is. So there's 3 switches left. So the second coin is the latch trip bank relay. So it'll be latched during the startup. And then when you hit the credit button one more time, it'll trip this. We went over how it gets tripped. Up at the top there on the schematic. I think the second coin gets tripped from pushing the replay push after it's reset. The reason it don't get reset the first time, I think what I said, now I've got to remember everything. All these things have to line right. And this, if it was game over, won't be shut. This would be dropped down. So when you do your initial reset, this won't get added. This will be dropped down. That's how you get the second coin to pull in, which should be part of this little presentation on the 2 switches left and the 2 right of the second coin bank relay. There, it just lights up the other drum. So and that's the relay itself. I'm a little smarter, and I've went through that with those other relays. Anytime you see this one right next to there, when this trips, to trip it, it has to have a relay. That's how it gets unlatched. So this will have to, this will have no energy to stay. I mean, this will change position. So this, instead of being closed, once this is unlatched, it'll be tripped. So this will now be open, and that will cut the juice to the relay, so it won't hum. So that's another switch. Go down here and look for another green line. Okay, what do we got? Just left. I know that because we just covered 2 and the relay. 1 lights up the second drum. Score reel's called the drum. And the other one cuts the hold on it so that once it's tripped, it doesn't have to have the relay burn out. That leaves 2 more. So here's the second coin. Once this trips, once it trips, it'll be down here. So now when the first, here's an important one. When this first player gets to the 4th out, this is the outstepper disc. When he gets to the 4th out, it's gonna get juice through this closed score motor switch. It's gonna come down here, and it's gonna pull in the second player step up setup setup. They didn't write it, they just abbreviated it. It's going to pull in the setup relay, but this is one of the 12 relays. This has no latch. So this would keep humming. And that's how the second player setup relay gets pulled in. It gets pulled in. It's got 6 switches. You know, it's only going to be on momentarily. So every one of these just does something real quick. It'll break the hold on it so that the switch goes off, because it's not a latch one. You don't want it humming. It'll break this third strike hold. It will reset the runs stepper unit so that the second player doesn't have to run out of notches, because you can get up to about 40 runs on there. So that's at 17J. This is at 7K. Switch 4 pulls in the number 4 relay to clean it. This is the home run relay. This one turns on relay 3, and relay 3 turns on relay 2, and it turns on the big switch that will clear the bases. Then there's another one here, switch 6. Switch 6 there is going to bypass the bell and the loading coil, so that when you turn on the big switch, it doesn't. Okay, here's the one I called the big switch. It's at 22. It's this one right here. If this comes on, it's from the 2 relay, so the number 4 relay turns on the 3 relay. The 3 relay turns on the 2 relay. The 2 relay shuts and energizes 3 things. It goes over here, does the run man, goes through this one, does the loading coil, and does the small bell. That's what I call the big switch, because this is like a main switch doing all that work. Oh, this is all done momentarily, because this hold switch gets cut. All in a split second. It breaks the third strike hold on, in case there was a third strike from the first player. Then it resets the run stepper in case he had any runs. Then it pulls in the number 4 relay, which turns on the 3 relay, which turns on the 2 relay, which hits the big switch right here, which does follow the red line. It goes over and does those 3 operations. Only guess what? We're not going to turn on all 3. We only want the load coil to come on, or the man motor run to come on, to run any bases that are players that are there around the thing and get them out of sight. So we don't want the loading coil coming on. And so what's going to happen to stop that loading coil from coming in? Right here, the juice would normally go both ways. But our path is going to be cut because of switch 6 on the second player setup. And again, if this is on a second player setup, this only happens for a fraction of a second, so it can't go that way to do the loading coil and the bell. It can only go and run the run man motor. And I would think that you would think that the hold wouldn't be cut on there right away, because this would have to stay. This would take a few seconds for this to go around. So I haven't thought of that. Let me think of that. All right, all these things happen, and it resets the name stepper in case the first player ran the grand slams up to 10. Okay, so that's what that rivet does here, because that second coin went in, it moved the switch down this way, which made this path come in at the 4th rivet when the first player's over. Because now, instead of going through to go to game over, it goes down here, and it pulls in that second relay to do those odd jobs. And somehow, I don't know how, it gets to another step to start the game, just like it would be on 0 to start that game, then it would be out 1. It would be out 1, 2, 3, and then number 4 is game over. So this one, you'd think it would start up to 5 to start the next guy, and I don't know what makes it go from 4 to 5. I haven't figured that out yet. Kind of got off track there, but that second player setup with all these odd duties that go on, these all go on. I didn't know that. These all go on happen from the outstepper unit, all because of that switch being down, because you hit the extra reset button for an extra second coin, which puts the second player on, and then
I meant replay button.
that pulls in this, which does all those odd jobs on this list. Okay, so we covered the one on that side. That's like the other drum up for the second player. We've covered the second coin when it came on, how it comes on, and then this light breaks the hold on it. So that's 1, 2, and then we just did this one, which gets the second player setup relay to set up everything that needs to be done to get this next player, get the first player closed out and the second player started. So that means we only have one switch left. See if it's followed. Oh yeah, I got a green line going there. Here it is. It's simple. All it does is open the match thing for the second player. Otherwise, it would just go through the match for the first player. It would go through the match for the first player, and then it would do all the stuff going up here. It would tally the match meter. It would the match impulse relay would do its job to get your pulse to the stepper unit that gives you the credits, and it would turn on the match light that matched, even if you don't have it on for the entire game from the adjustments. So that's all it does here. It adds the second one right here. This switch would close when the second, way back when the first play, before the first player started, somebody pushed the credit button, and that unlatched, tripped the second coin relay. So that's the end of that one, and that's all 4. I had it written down. It was second player setup gets tripped, breaks the hold after it's tripped, allows the match through 1 hour, and oh yeah, turns on that light. Okay, so that's the end of the second coin relay, and we've already covered the second batter. So you see how that second player setup relay was tied into the second coin and the second batter. So I didn't know all that when we tried to cover this, so now I can see when the first player gets done, the out unit pulls this in and then sets up everything, closes out the first player is what it does, kind of closes out the first player. And then all I got left is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 3 in the back box, and 3 relays under the play field, and that would be it. But I don't think I'm going through all these. I didn't set out to go through all these. I definitely wanted to go through the ones I did, and it definitely is a breakthrough. It's definitely a breakthrough to get the find out how this gets pulled in, the second player setup relay. I wondered all this about how it switches players all along. Now I got it in my head how this works. And as far as the third strike relay and the match impulse relay, name relay and all that, that'll be some work for me to read those circuits, but I'm closing this out. So be back with something else maybe, or I'll just post this.